Welcome to the Centennial anniversary of Ely Memorial High School. Much as was the case in 1924, Ely Memorial High School serves today as the cornerstone for the community, and the high school remains one of the most magnificent buildings in Ely. When the high school was dedicated in 1924, the word memorial was added to the name to honor the hometown soldiers who lost their lives during World War I. These soldiers were immigrants or first-generation Americans. A plaque honoring the soldiers was placed inside the main entrance to the high school. The high school's main entrance also included the murals Education and Industry by David Tice Workman. These murals are not about war, but rather depict the glories of peace that were to guide the community's youth. This artwork was commissioned by the Frank Lozar American Legion Post and added to the entrance in 1926. Today, in 2024, it is time to celebrate a century of community life through the stories shared by 13 graduates who walked the halls of Ely Memorial High School. These stories began with Josephine Spreitzer Pruse, who graduated in 1942 and continue for 8 decades through Grace LaTourell, who is part of the class of 2024. The stories should help in understanding and preserving the history of Ely over the last 100 years. Each graduate tells a personal story, but you will hear common themes about the benefits of community support, being cared for by teachers, coaches, janitors, and lunch ladies, friendships that have lasted a lifetime, work ethics that were developed early in life, and the deep appreciation for their education at Ely Memorial High School. Now, let's step back in time and hear from our past graduates about what Ely Memorial High School was like when they were in school.
You had to walk in the hallways, you never hollered, you respected your teachers, but I enjoyed my school years tremendously.
While I was going to school, I really believed that there was a tremendous respect for the teachers and the staff. And you really didn't talk back or get in trouble, because when you got home, Mom and Dad made sure that you got in trouble there too. If you got in trouble in school, you got in trouble at home, and that wasn't always a good thing there and stuff there, because Dad was tougher than the teachers were there and stuff.
We were a very thriving community. We had over 6,000 people in Ely at the time.
Entering the school system, there was a structure in place, and you knew ahead of time. You didn't step out of line. Corporal punishment was still the Damascus sword hanging over people's heads. And there are a lot of rules there. You couldn't step on the grass. You couldn't walk on it at all. I don't care. You couldn't take a shortcut no matter what, otherwise you'd be in trouble.
You'll always remember your high school days, and most of ours were pretty good. Your shop classes, your gym classes, and most of all your classmates that you hung around with.
It was incredibly diverse, and it had such an eclectic mix, maybe even one of the most diverse schools in the state, in terms of you had your wrench heads and your motor heads. You had some people that were maybe a little bit more into sports, like jocks. You had a preppy group. You had your ultimate super nerds. You had your ultimate rule followers. You had people that were maybe a little bit more edgy, maybe a little bit more party oriented.
I think I would say that the atmosphere was fun. First of all, the classes, people enjoyed the times they had together. I can remember a lot of laughter on the buses, or a lot of laughter in class, having times with your friends, outside of school, the pep rallies, the different activities on campus. I felt like it was a very fun time.
It was good. We all were like family at the school, but I mean, it was when we started having phones and everything, so of course there's all the ups and downs of that, and all the teachers didn't really like that, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a great time.
Behind every great education are the teachers and classes that leave a lasting impact. Join us as we pay tribute to the educators who inspired our alumni, the subjects that ignited their passion, and the invaluable lessons learned both inside and outside the classroom.
You know, they always told us in the 70s and early 80s in Ely that when it came to standardized testing, we are always top in the state. And that was something to be proud of, and I think that was all due to the skill of the teachers. They got it into us, and we kept it and we retained it. Sure, they may have been tough, but we needed a little discipline back then. But if I had to pick a favorite, I don't think I could. But I can say that Jim Hogan was a wonderful teacher and one of the inspirations into my journalism crew. I had him for English in 9th grade and 12th grade.
But my favorite teacher was Bud Adamick. I absolutely admired that man. I still got this soft heart there when I think about it.
Mr. Braun's geography class. That was my favorite class, yeah. And then Mr. Dreschler was the librarian. He was fantastic. You'd walk by the library and he'd hand you a book. And not just me, I mean, he knew every kid what they're reading, or he'd want you to read, he'd buy books for you, but he didn't tell you that. Carl, a new book came in. Well, yeah, it's not a new one. You ordered it for me.
It's just super cool to be able to have those relationships, especially in a small town. You get super close with them.
Mr. Hoopla was the gym teacher, and I loved that class. We did all these different activities. I can remember he brought in photography back before photography was even thought of as like a gym activity. In general, I would say all my teachers were very good. Yeah.
Oh, it's got to be Phi Ed, home ec, or shop class.
I really liked history and English. I would give our educators great marks.
Well, my dad was my teacher for 4 years through high school. A lot of our teachers in this school have just big personalities. I mean, we have Mr. Law, who you can hear from the other side of the school. He's a loud personality. He's a good time. And then we have our other English one, Miss Kingsley. She's always just fun. She's so nice. And then science ones, we had like Hohenstein and Duramy. They were always loads of fun.
And I think a lot of the Ely teachers were like that. They wanted us to succeed, no matter if it was in sports or academics or whatever. Yeah.
The legacy of athleticism and creativity continues to shine bright at Ely Memorial High School. Let's take a look back at the diverse array of sports and activities embraced by generations of Ely Memorial High School students.
The best memory that I had was when I was a junior. I got picked to go to Girls State. And I had never left Ely, that far. We went to Minneapolis. That was a really great experience. I just loved it. And of course, I had never been anywhere. Probably to Duluth was the furthest you ever went.
And when those games were played, there was no TV at the time, or even good radio for that matter. And those basketball games, they'd be just filled to capacity on Friday night, especially. And when the guys came to, the general public came, the guys would be dressed in suits and ties. Really. Yeah. And the women in their finery and all that type of that. It was a big event, and that's the way it was those days.
My particular class went to state in basketball. So for us, that was a huge achievement. I think that was the first year in several decades that the school had gone to state.
Since I was born, I was a basketball player. And then I dabbled in a little bit of swimming and cross country and track. It's not really a time when we were the best with a lot of the sports, but we had a lot of fun.
I've always enjoyed sports, and we didn't have the sports like the boys did. I remember two of my sisters were good swimmers, and I always liked swimming. I was in Shagwell Lake all the time.
Yes, I'm in basketball, cross country, and track. Well, I just finished my basketball season, and we made it to semifinals. That was really cool.
Well, I went to all the football games and basketball games, hockey games. Hockey was outside in the ice, out on the side of the school. We stood in the snowbank.
Yeah, I played football, hockey, and baseball. Hockey was played outside, right where the teacher's parking lot is now. I remember some of the days, if it was 20 below, halfway through the period, we'd switch ends because the wind was blowing, so one team would have no disadvantage. And then we didn't have boards or a fence on the side of the rink, so if somebody got checked, they rolled up in a snowbank and they had to stop.
Started hockey a little bit late, but I did the high school hockey, the youth hockey. I did track for 6 years. I did baseball. Would have done more sports if they had them. And then as you get a little bit older, I gravitated away from baseball simply because work maybe became more important than it should have.
The hockey team was competitive with the football team, was competitive with the basketball team. So you felt that at school. You felt like people were egging each other on, supporting each other. And it was a really sort of a great environment to achieve in.
But you're trying to be cool, so being too enthusiastic about your school can't be cool, can it? So you're trying to fight off being too enthusiastic, even though the internal system in you says, yeah, let's go crazy. I mean, we were proud to be Ely Timberwolves. We were proud of our school. We were competitive in the sports. We did good in the standard testing. Our teachers were 98% really wonderful people, so that shows in your spirit, indeed.
But then, when come homecoming, we'd have the snake dance.
Yeah,
my goodness.
And I was the leader.
We were crazy. Started at the school.
Yeah.
And we went all the way uptown.
So
we hold each other's
hold hands. And there probably was 100.
Well, we stopped at every corner. And then sometimes we went through Dee's bar.
We did. We went through it.
Well, we went through it. We didn't stop.
The students embraced the opportunity to gain real-world experience through working. Here are some of their memories from their work experiences.
There was a call put out at the end of the school year when I was in 10th grade. The call went out for 5 or 6 people to become fill-in janitors because the custodial crew here at Ely District 696, they were mostly World War II vets. Hard-drinking, hard-fighting old World War II vets. And to get the school cleaned in 3 months' time, it took them and us to get the job done. That was a really fun job because there are so many catacombs and little nooks and crannies underneath all these buildings, and even in the ceilings above and in the walls, especially this memorial building. You know, you've got secret passageways in between the walls, storage rooms in between the walls of the old media center there and the gym, catacombs under the building. It was fun to crawl through all those and learn shortcuts to go from one building to the other.
Ely was so booming then because the mines were working and we could get jobs anywhere in the summer.
Yeah, I think every kid in Ely worked in the summer. It's just how it was. The parents, they weren't mean, but they were strict and they wanted their kids to succeed in life. So yeah, they didn't want them fiddling around in the house. So everybody had a summer job. Most of us worked at the canoe outfitter, at a resort, Dairy Queen, A&W, whatever.
If you're born and raised in Ely, I'm not sure if you have a choice to work in the summer. So I think maybe that it's even a birthright. So most kids, by the time they're 12 or 13, have a summer job. I worked at the resort, Cowish-Away Lodge, the family business.
Yeah, I've worked at our family business. We have a resort and outfitting business. I've worked there since like middle school pretty much.
But I started off cleaning floors at Clune Law Firm. So Clune Law Firm was on the 2nd floor of the James building. And so my job when I was 7 was to clean each step with a rag. So I literally started, in the ranks as a cleaning girl for the firm and sort of went up from there.
When I was 9 years old, I was delivering newspapers. I had to do that for a while. And then when I was 13, I got a job as a waitress at a cafe down by where the gas station is.
Yeah, I worked at the front porch for 5 or 6 years. I had other smaller jobs here or there. I helped my dad paint houses. I think a lot of people around here did 2 or 3 jobs in the summer.
From the classroom to the playing field, The lessons learned and experiences gained at Ely Memorial High School left an unforgettable mark on the career choices of our alumni. They shared with us how their high school journey paved the way for their future endeavors and ambitions that continue to resonate in their lives today.
I took bookkeeping, typing, any of those classes to help. Yeah, and it helped me because when I worked in the store, I could do the bookwork, and then when I went to the college, I had bookwork.
But we've had so many students or graduates from Ely that have gone on to high places. You know, that would be interesting to track all that down and write it up, because I'm telling you, we've had people do everything from working in the space program to running big corporations to owning businesses that are, you know, and so it's just for a small town. I think we do a good job, and I attribute that to our faculty, our teachers, and of course the parents.
You know, for a school district this size, an independent school district, when resources were tight, they were able to produce, you know, not only students, but athletes that could, you know, go on and achieve any goal they really wanted to. That's an amazing testament to a community this size.
We had, for sure, we had 85 graduating. We had 36 of them had a 4-year degree or better. That's 42% right there. If you figure we had about 4 or 5 engineers, two or three for mining and some for civil and some for other. We had a couple of physicists in the group. We had people that were college teachers, had doctorates, just a whole array of things. You look at it, it's almost unheard of. And that wasn't true of our class. That was true of the school district.
Ely always got me the job. And by that, I mean, I would often sit in job interviews and I would say, "Oh, I'm from Ely." And they'd be like, "Ely?" And the whole interview was about Ely. And I would be like, "So do I have the job or not?"
Though years may pass and life may take them on separate paths, the friendships forged at Ely Memorial High School remain a cornerstone of our alumni's lives. Let's hear about how our graduates still keep in touch with their friends from back in school.
School to me was just fantastic. I enjoyed my school years. I enjoyed the kids, the people. I still in touch with quite a few of my classmates that are still around, and I plan all the reunions that we've had.
Of course, we had everybody has a 10-year reunion. And we had a 15-year, and we had a 20-year, 5-year, and we had 30, and 40. And our last biggie was that we had our 50th at the Grand Ely Lodge in 1999. And we had a big one at the 60s, full-blown, you know, banquet and all this kind of thing.
The class of '82 is a fairly tight bunch. We have our own Facebook page, and so I'd say at least 50% of us keep in touch that way. There have been a few, too many frankly, that I think have already passed on, and there's a few that walked out the door with their diplomas and never came back.
But yeah, as far as my old high school friends, I guess I'm really fortunate. If I'm here in Ely, there are several of them that are still in Ely that were in my wedding, and there might only be one of them that's not in Ely that was one of my best friends growing up.
The city of Ely holds a special place in the hearts of its residents, past and present. Join us as we uncover the reasons why our alumni hold such deep affection for their hometown.
If you're from the Iron Range and from Ely, you can go anywhere in the world, and if you say, "Hey, I'm from Ely, Minnesota," somebody, if they're a ranger, they're gonna know, and you're gonna have a beer with them, hey? Because that's just how it goes.
Everybody knows everybody. Then you walk down the street and you'll get a smile. You can say hi to somebody and they'll say back.
Ely is the best place to be, and I'm honored to have had roots there.
But it also, you know, it gave me that sense of being a part of something more than just yourself. You know, you care about your neighbor. They care about you.
I'm a coffee shop person, so I love going out for coffee and stuff like that. And if you're in Ely, Minnesota, and you go for coffee, all of a sudden someone sits down you don't know. 2 weeks later, you're good friends.
Everyone here knows each other. Obviously not everyone, but almost everyone. Like I said, you go out, you see a dozen people you know, and then it's just so peaceful. You can just go sit in the woods and there's no city noise. You don't have anything around you besides just nature.
Finally, our graduates offer words of wisdom and encouragement to new and upcoming members of the Ely Memorial High School community to help guide and inspire the next generation of students.
Study hard, make good friends, and take chances on college or buying a business or something. You have to have a little bit gumption so you could work really hard for that.
Look at the trades, because we're hurting for electricians, plumbers. I tell other kids to be a shop teacher, because it's a good trade. But look at the trades and have more than one path.
My advice to kids, if you want to be a doctor, if you want to be a lawyer, if you want to be those things that require a college education, go for it. Keep your grades up, work hard at it so that you can get into those colleges that you want. Prepare yourself the best you can, knowing that it's going to cost you a lot of dollars to go to college. It will. But to those people that are looking to make some money, to to have a good life, I would honestly recommend the trades. The trades served me well.
I mean, my biggest advice is challenge yourself. Step outside your comfort zone. Every time you do that, you grow as a person. And the more you do that, the more life you experience. I think the broader your perspectives are, the broader your opportunities are.
I would say invest in your future. Do not rely on your cell phones. Study. Make the best of what you have. Your education means a lot for your future. You're investing in your life.
I'd say just don't take your time for granted or wish time away because it goes by so fast, and I can't believe I'm a senior already.
Mind your P's and Q's, play it easy, listen to the teachers, study hard. That one's getting harder and harder to enforce, and everything should go all right for you.
Enjoy life, but do everything in moderation. Think positively. And when you get to this age, think young.
As we conclude this tribute to Ely Memorial High School, may we carry forward the legacy of excellence, unity, and service that has defined this institution for the past 100 years. Here's to the next century of learning, growth, and community spirit. We would like to thank all the interviewees for their participation in this project. This video and oral histories project was developed by the volunteers of the City of Ely Heritage Preservation Commission. Funding for the project came from a State of Minnesota Legacy Grant. We would also like to offer special birthday wishes to interviewee Josephine Spreitzer Pruse, who celebrates her 100th birthday in 2024. Happy birthday, Josephine.